Have you ever heard of a civilization so advanced, so mysterious, that even today, thousands of years later, we're still piecing together its secrets? I'm talking about the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan civilization. This ancient culture, flourishing over 4,500 years ago in what is now Pakistan and northwest India, was one of the three great early civilizations of the Old World, alongside Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. But unlike the pyramids or ziggurats, the wonders of the Harrappans have been much quieter, slowly revealing themselves from beneath the earth. Today, we're diving deep into some of the most astonishing and rare findings from this enigmatic world. Forget what you think you know about ancient history, because the Harrappans are about to blow your mind. Let's start with their cities. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa weren't just random collections of mud huts. They were master-planned urban centers, grids of streets laid out with an engineer's precision. Imagine walking down a main street, wide enough for 2 ox carts to pass, with smaller lanes branching off at perfect right angles. But here's the truly incredible part: their sanitation systems. Nearly every house had a private bathroom and a connection to a sophisticated, city-wide covered drainage network. This was thousands of years before the Romans were celebrated for their aqueducts. These weren't just open ditches. They were carefully constructed brick channels, complete with manholes for maintenance. This level of civic planning points to a powerful central authority and a deep understanding of public health. It suggests a society that valued cleanliness and order to a degree unheard of for its time. They were, in essence, the world's first smart cities. Now, let's talk about what they left behind: the artifacts. One of the most famous and yet most puzzling discoveries is the Priest King's statue. It's a small steatite sculpture of a bearded man with a calm, meditative expression. He wears an ornate robe with a trefoil pattern and a headband. The name Priest King is just a guess, a label given by early archaeologists. We have no definitive proof of kings or a priestly class. Was he a ruler? A spiritual leader? A respected elder? The statue's formal, dignified posture is captivating. But his true identity remains one of the Harappan civilization's greatest unsolved mysteries. He stares out at us from across the millennia, a silent gatekeeper to a lost world of beliefs and social structures. But what about the everyday people? What did they do for fun? Well, it seems they loved games. Archaeologists have unearthed countless terracotta figurines, dice, and game boards. The dice are almost identical to modern ones, cubical with dots from 1 to 6. They also had miniature toy carts pulled by bulls, complete with moving wheels, suggesting children played with models of the real world around them. And then there are the dancing girls. The most famous is a small bronze statuette from Mohenjo-daro, depicting a young woman in a confident, relaxed pose, with her arm covered in bangles and a defiant look on her face. She's not a goddess or a queen. She's a performer, an artist, captured in a moment of poised energy. This artifact gives us a rare, intimate glimpse into the culture and aesthetics of the Harappan people, showing a society that appreciated art and entertainment. Perhaps the most tantalizing mystery of all is the Indus script. The Harrappans had a writing system, found on thousands of small stone seals, pottery, and tablets. These seals often feature stunningly detailed animal carvings, elephants, rhinos, and even a unicorn, alongside a string of symbols. There are over 400 unique signs in this script, and the problem? We can't read it. Not a single word. Despite decades of effort by the world's brightest minds, the Indus script remains undeciphered. This is the biggest barrier to truly understanding their world. What do these seals say? Are they names, titles, trade records, or religious incantations. The animals might represent clans or deities. Without a Rosetta Stone to unlock the language, the Harrappans' own voices are lost to us. Every new seal found brings both excitement and frustration. Another piece of a puzzle we don't know how to solve. The Harappan economy was also remarkably advanced. They were skilled artisans and prolific traders. We've found Harappan seals and beads as far away as Mesopotamia, in modern-day Iraq. This proves they undertook long-distance sea voyages across the Arabian Sea. But what were they trading? One of their most prized exports was carnelian beads. At sites like Lotho, a port city in Gujarat, archaeologists discovered a massive bead-making workshop. They had a complex process for heating, chipping, and drilling these hard stones to create beautiful, uniform red beads that were highly sought after in the ancient world. They also developed a standardized system of weights and measures, using carefully cut and polished stone cubes. This ensured fair trade across their vast civilization and with foreign partners. This wasn't primitive barter. It was organized commerce on an international scale. Let's move on to some even more unusual finds. At a site called Kalibangan, archaeologists found evidence of what appears to be the world's earliest plowed field. It shows a crisscross furrow pattern, suggesting they planted two different crops simultaneously. This is a sophisticated agricultural technique still used in the region today. This discovery tells us they weren't just farming, they were innovating, maximizing their land's potential to feed their large urban populations. Furthermore, at some sites, we find evidence of fire altars, suggesting ritual practices involving fire. What these rituals were for, we can only speculate. Were they offerings to gods, purification, ceremonies, or something else entirely? Then, there's the question of their decline. Around 1900 BCE, this great civilization began to fade away. The cities were gradually abandoned. There's no evidence of a massive invasion or a single catastrophic event. Instead, the current leading theory points to climate change. The monsoon patterns shifted, leading to a gradual drying up of the Gagahakra river system, which was a lifeline for many Harappan settlements. As the rivers dried, agriculture failed, and people were forced to migrate to smaller, more rural villages. The great urban experiment came to a quiet end. It is a sobering reminder from the ancient world that even the most advanced societies are vulnerable to the forces of nature. The collapse of the Harrappans wasn't a dramatic, fiery end, but a slow, silent dispersal. One of the most profound aspects of the Harappan civilization is its apparent peacefulness. Across the vast excavation sites, archaeologists have found very few weapons. There are no grand murals of war, no depictions of conquered enemies, and the fortified walls around the cities seem more for flood control or trade regulation than for military defense. Compare this to Egypt or Mesopotamia, whose art is filled with images of kings smiting their foes. The Harrappans seem to have built a stable, prosperous society that lasted for centuries without a major focus on warfare. How did they manage this? Did they have a unique political system? A shared ideology? Or was their economic power enough to ensure stability? This apparent lack of conflict makes them an anomaly in the ancient world, and a fascinating case study in social organization. So, from revolutionary urban planning and undeciphered scripts to sophisticated trade and a culture of peace, the Harappan civilization is a treasure trove of wonders. Each new discovery raises more questions than it answers, drawing us deeper into its mystery. They were a people who valued order, art, and trade, who engineered their world with incredible foresight, and who ultimately vanished, leaving behind a puzzle for the ages. The story of the Harrappans is far from over. As archaeologists continue to dig, who knows what rare findings will surface next, waiting to rewrite history once again. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. Let me know in the comments which Harappan mystery intrigues you the most. See you next time.